On this episode, I have a guest who has a few tips on how to be a better salesperson. Right after this. Welcome to another episode of Tips Visuals. I'm your host, Joel Valle. I'm an Austin videographer, and this channel is all about video marketing, mindset, and tips on how to be a better consultant for your business. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a thing. So on this episode, I interviewed Isabel Tinker Affinito. She's a real estate agent here in Austin, and this episode is special because I shot this documentary style as always, me behind the camera, but Isabel made a request for me to sit next to her after I shot the first version. And it turns out the version that I'm sitting next to her, granted I'm no Larry King, I'm very far from it, but it turned out better with a better dynamic. So here's my off-the-cuff interview with Isabel. Enjoy. Okay, this is Isabel Tinker Affinito.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and she's a real estate agent, a very good one. And she uses video marketing to reach her clients, to reach her fans, stuff like that. She does an excellent job doing that. And I encourage all of you to start doing video content. She just uses her laptop to record videos. And it's just simply amazing. We've known each other for quite some time from the Austin. One of her accomplishments is that she has been featured in a magazine from 30 Under 30.
Correct.
Yes, and and that was a very exciting moment in your career when you did that. I saw the video that you did for that, which was pretty funny, pretty well put together. It showed your personality a lot, and I really admire it. And yes, I just want to ask you a few questions on how to approach being a salesperson and some tips you can share. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, what is 3 things that you can say that will help somebody make a career or engaging sales?
Sure. And I do just want to mention that you made a great point about video for 30 Under 30, because when they called me to ask if I would be on the cover, which this is super fun. I'm gonna just display this probably for the rest of my life. But when they called and asked me if I wanted to, if I would be willing to do that, they said it was your video that made all the difference. So I've been a huge proponent of the power of video ever since that happened, because they called me and said the video that you submitted really helped us understand your personality, and it was clear to us that you would be comfortable on film, and so that was really what tipped the scales. So if you're wondering if video actually makes a difference, it certainly did for me in that situation.
Awesome. One of the things that you mentioned in our conversation earlier prior to recording this was that you were mentioning that there are certain things that a person has to have in mind when engaging in this sort of career. So can you go elaborate on them or with them or whatever?
Absolutely. So I am a real estate agent in Austin. I sell real estate, and so my primary job is I am a salesperson. And I'm not what you would call a natural born salesperson. It's a skill set that I've had to learn, and I've invested a lot of time, money, and energy into training and learning to be an effective salesperson. So there are 3 things that I would offer to anyone who's getting started as a salesperson, no matter what it is that you're going to be selling, that are true across sales. So those 3 things would be, number 1, to listen to your customers.
Okay.
Number 2 would be to be professionally persistent. And number 3 is learn how to silence your ego so that you can learn from your mistakes.
All 3 are powerful, and let's go over the first one.
Sure.
And so, when you engage with your customers, like what are you looking for? How are you being mindful of that?
Sure, absolutely. So number 1 we said was listen to your customer. Anytime I'm entering into a sales interaction, I don't go in with the assumption that I'm going to sell this person real estate. I go into the interaction thinking I'm here to figure out if they need anything from me and if I can fill that need and if we're going to enjoy doing that together. So what that really comes down to is making sure I'm asking good questions to understand what it is that person needs. In terms of timeline, in terms of cost, in terms of what their goals are for real estate. Why do they want to buy real estate? Do they want to buy real estate or sell real estate? What's going on in their life that's making that make sense for them? And if I'm going to help them, then I have to listen to their answers about those things, and then sell to their needs, sell to the problem that they need me to solve. So where I would kind of wrap this up for any salesperson who's getting into the business is, don't enter a sales interaction assuming I'm going to sell this person something. Enter the sales interaction thinking, I'm here to find out if I can help or not. And that means you have to then listen when you're talking to that person.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people kind of assign a numeric metric. Oh, you should be doing 3 times listening, and 3 times asking questions. But it's kind of like a ratio, like, they should be talking more than you are talking.
Yes, absolutely. There's a saying in sales: whoever is asking the questions is in control. And as a salesperson, you want to be in a positive form of control in the sales interaction, because you're here to guide this person to good sales decisions. And so that means you need to be asking questions and then listening to the answers. So absolutely, they should be talking more than you are.
Which I think is a perfect segue, because when we were discussing earlier, you were also talking about ego, because that involves controlling your own ego. So
sure.
Yeah, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Absolutely. So we'll hop to number 3, which is silence your ego so that you can learn from your mistakes. Really, there's a lot of good reasons to silence your ego in sales, but one of them is so that you can learn and get better. Because if you're in a space where you're defensive and you think you're always right, and anybody who doesn't buy from you must be just am I allowed to curse?
This is YouTube. I'm not going to put monetization on it, so I don't care.
I'll use a bad word. So if you think, oh, they didn't buy from me, that means they're an asshole or whatever. If that's the space that you're in, then you're never going to learn from constructive criticism. You're never going to learn from failures. You're never going to learn from feedback, because you've already decided that you know everything, right? And that's an ego move. It's just a way for us to protect our sense of self and our sense of value, and it doesn't serve us to actually get better in sales. And as a bit of a perfectionist, that's a lesson that I had to learn over time, to enjoy feedback and to enjoy hearing no and to enjoy failure, because now I understand that every time that happens, I learn from it if I can just shut up my defensive ego voice for long enough to actually hear what it is that is being, really gifted to me. It's a gift when we hear those kind of feedback.
Yeah. So, in synthesis, when you're trying to be a salesperson, think about the other person and don't be a dick, right? Yeah. I said a curse word, so you won't be alone. You didn't say a curse word. Okay. Yeah, and we jumped to the third tip, but the second tip, which would be what?
Is to be professionally persistent.
Okay.
So one of the things that I think is hard about sales is that you have to remember people don't remember who you are on the first interaction. It's easy to think, oh, well, I called that person and we had a nice conversation and they told me that if they're ever going to sell their house, they're going to call me back. Well, it didn't take me very long in this business to learn that that's not true. That they're not walking around the grocery store thinking, oh, that Isabel Affinito, I'm going to remember to call her 3 years from now when I sell my house. They're just not thinking about me. They just aren't. And so one of my jobs is to stay in front of people in a professional manner often enough that when they actually do need to make a real estate decision, they first of all remember who I am, and second of all can find my contact information, and third of all feel comfortable reaching out to me. And so the way that I do that is checking in with people from time to time. Hey, we talked a couple months ago, just wanted to see if you needed anything. I'll leave voicemails like that. Send people things that are valuable from time to time, like property tax season is coming up. Here's a handout that might help you. Making sure I'm friends with them on Facebook so that they see my posts from time to time, that I'm still selling real estate, that this is still what I do for a living.
So do you mean that you're not using Facebook only to put cat videos?
No, not just cat videos.
Okay, cool. Yes.
Although an occasional Rosie video does seem to help my dog Rosie.
Okay, yes. Use Facebook also for engaging with your clients also. And you're even using your personal page. It's not like you have a fan page. Well,
I have both.
You have both.
I have both.
Yes, but she's been pretty consistent on putting up the videos, and yes, like you said, sharing tips on sales tactics or stories about raccoons and stuff like that. Which
See, those are the ones that people remember, right?
exactly, yeah, exactly, and yes, I remember that because like story about raccoon, which is I think it's a saga because it has like 3 sequels.
There were like 3 raccoon
Three
stories
sequels,
at my house.
Yeah, definitely check her page out so you know why we're talking about raccoons. Okay.
Maybe I'll reshare that one. Maybe it's time for us to bring up raccoons again. So you bring up an excellent point, Joel, which is that you want to have a mix of professional and personal.
Yeah.
Because people people want connection, really, fundamentally. I'm going to get kind of put on my psychologist hat for a minute, my counselor hat or something. But ultimately, people want connection. They want to work with real human beings. And they want to feel like you're a real, genuine person. So it's important for them to remember, what I do professionally, which is why I have pictures of, hey, I'm touring this house. Hey, I just got this listing. Hey, real estate, whatever. Those kind of videos. But they're also mixed in with things like the videos about when we had 3 dead raccoons around our house in 10 days. And the videos that people really remember are the raccoon videos and things like that.
Yeah. But like you said, it's a human component. It makes you relatable to people. You're not just like this part of this brand, a corporation, faceless. No,
Yes.
it gives you more warmth. So, yeah, cool.
I actually, the comment that you just made reminds me of something that I read, and I can't remember who the author was now or what book it was, but he was talking about how one of the biggest assets that small business owners have is their personalities, right? We get to be goofy and vulnerable, and we don't have to, have this perfect branding image. But so many small business owners feel like they have to have all the answers and they have to be perfect and they can't offend anybody. And none of that is really true, right? Our greatest asset is that we do have personalities and people can relate to us as human beings. But we do the absolute opposite. We try to be uber professional and perfect all the time. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you have Coca-Cola, which has no personality because it's too big to. And so what do? They go and hire celebrities for billions of dollars to do branding ads for them to try to give themselves a personality. So it's that ever since I read that's resonated so much with me, that don't try to be uber professional and perfect all the time, because what people want is they want to interact with a human being. And so be a little bit vulnerable and be a human being. And
that is your real business card when it comes down to it. A lot of people obsess like, oh, I should print business cards, and it's your personality that's going to ultimately do the sale or connect with that person. It's not your business card. Those are great tips. Thank you so much for sharing all that.
Absolutely.
And how can people reach you?
That's a great question. So you can find me online, Isabel Tinker Affinito, whether that's through Facebook, you can find me there. You can find me on Instagram at Funky Homes of Austin, and I also have a website, isabelaffinito.com. So there are lots of ways to find me. My primary goal as a real estate agent is to help people understand real estate so that they can make good, informed real estate decisions and build wealth through real estate in Austin. So I like to think of myself as a real estate consultant, not just somebody that you call when you're ready to write up the contract, but I like to help my clients build, real estate portfolios that are going to serve them for a lifetime. The last thing that I would mention is that I also love interacting with small business owners like you, Joel, and people who are doing cool things in Austin. And I like exchanging sales tips and business tactics and figuring out, what it takes for us to be successful as small business owners. So if there's anybody out there who's not thinking about transacting real estate, but who owns some kind of a small business and you want to exchange some notes, I'm always happy to have that conversation too.
Oh yeah, definitely call her. She knows a lot of things that it might be very helpful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. So, how can people find you?
Great question. There are 3 main ways to find me online. I seem to like 3s today.
Yeah.
I'll give you 3 ways to find me online. The first is you can find me at isabelaffinito.com, my website, or on Facebook as Isabel Tinker Affinito, or on Instagram at Funky Homes of Austin.